Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to take a look at Eiscue V. Now, this is only fair, right? Because, of course, Eiscue V, this is a weird one for me to pronounce, is exclusive to Pokemon Shield. In the same way that Stonejourner is exclusive to Pokemon Sword. They are the counterparts to each other. And we've seen a Stonejourner V, so it's only fair that we therefore have an Eiscue V. Now, it's not entirely fair, because of course Stonejourner we found out yesterday, probably? Depends when this gets uploaded, but probably yesterday. We found out that it actually has a VMAX. Eiscue doesn't yet, but it's got to be a strong candidate for one in the future. Our translation today is a mixture of Google Translate and the lovely Joe from Cerebi.net. And what we see here is a Pokemon with 210 HP. It's not quite as high as some of the big boys like Stonejourner, but it's definitely on the higher end of Pokemon V. Retreat cost of 2 it's fine. Weakness to Metal is also fine for the minute. Pokemon like Lucario and Melmetal have been seeing a bit of play lately. It's not been a huge typing, but of course with Metal Saucer coming, which is literally just a metal version of Aqua Patch, there is every possibility that metal Pokemon are about to get a whole bunch better. And being a water Pokemon means you've got Quagsire to move your energy around, which is rather lovely. And it means we've got that Frostmoth that we had a look at yesterday. No, probably a couple videos ago, actually. But we looked at recently anyway, which lets you attach as many water energy as you like during your turn to your benched water Pokemon. So alright, you've got to have this on the bench in order to be able to use it, but then you get to attach as many water energy during your turn as you like, and as we're going to see in a moment, that's pretty big. So Eiscue V then, it's got a lovely ability, Cold Absorption. Whenever you play a water energy from your hand to this Pokemon, heal 30 damage from this Pokemon. Yeah, this has got healing coming out of the wazoo. Now, to be fair, it's a water Pokemon. You can always use Lana for a little bit of healing. But honestly, and indeed, you can use Mallow and Lana if you so wish. Lana's really got your back. But honestly here, this ability is going to be absolutely amazing. And it is worth pointing out, just as a quick side note here, this is an ability on a Pokemon V, not on a Pokemon GX. That means that your opponent will not be able to turn off your ability using Power Plant. It means that that new Mimikyu from Cosmic Eclipse will not turn off your ability. Your ability is pretty gosh darn safe at this stage. That's a good thing, ladies and gentlemen. That's a good thing. I suppose, Glaceon will also not turn off your ability, but Glaceon, I think it's fair to say, is seeing rather less play than it might. Hey-ho. But this is brilliant. If you take 180 damage, just attach 6 energy, you're good. Now, I say just attach 6 energy. You've still got to find the energy. Now, the good news is we do have Lady in the format still. It was last printed in Forbidden Light. This is a really nice one. You just get to search your deck for 4 basic energy and put them into your hand. We do have Viridian Forest, which is good for getting 1 energy, but suffice to say it's not going to get a huge amount. Now, Energy Spinner will let you search for 1 energy, and actually if you go second on your first turn of the game, it lets you search for 3. That's going to be really, really handy here. But the point is, there are ways to get the energy, and of course you can just have a strong draw engine, drawing a huge amount of cards, add in something like a Zeb Striker, for instance, always nice for drawing extra cards, and that's going to set you up rather nicely indeed. The point is here that you can just heal. If your opponent's trying to spread damage to you, that's going to fail a little bit. But even big attacks, it's not that likely that you're going to be able to pull it off all the time. But the fact remains that if your opponent does 200 damage to you, you can just whack 7 energy on and then heal off the entirety of the damage that's just been done. It's not going to happen all the time. It's not like your opponent's hitting 200 a turn and you're healing 200 a turn. But it is theoretically possible. And of course, we've always got Energy Recycler, which is really nice for just getting all your energy back. Puts 5 basic energy from your discard pile into your deck. Now, one thing that is very much worth considering here, Why don't we still have Energy Reset? Energy Reset would be amazing here. Energy Reset is a card, it was only ever printed once if I remember correctly, and it basically just lets you grab all the energy on one particular Pokemon, just whack it in your hand. Now that of course is awesome, because you'd be able to pick up all the energy and then replay it back down with Frostmoth, and then all of a sudden Eiscue's just completely healed up. It's kind of wonderful, is it not? Obviously, the answer here is yes. So, I'm a huge fan of this as an ability. But the thing is, you can't just heal forever. I suppose maybe if you play a blocking deck and you just sit there and your opponent cannot one-hit KO, but 210 is not the most HP we've seen. If you really want to be blocking and trying to stop your opponent taking a KO, I mean, maybe look at Snorlax VMAX, 340 HP. That is, shall we say, a more natural candidate here. Anyway, back to Eiscue then. We like the ability, but what does the attack do? 2 water, 1 colorless energy, 120 damage, and it does 10 damage to each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Okay. It's not phenomenal, but it's not bad. Now, in the context of a Pokemon that is not getting KO'd, this is actually really, really nice. 120... I mean, look, you're getting some KOs here and there. So, against a lot of the non-GXs, things like the aforementioned Quagsire and things like Malamar, then yeah, you're doing fine. But the problem is there's plenty of 130 HP Pokemon, like, for instance, Naganadel, that you're just not. Which is kind of upsetting. So then have 130 HP, you're not able to get a KO. Now the good news is we do have that new Vitality Band Pokemon tool, which does let you do an extra 10 damage, and that's kind of lovely. But then you're stuck at 130. And then you look at something you're hitting for weakness. Blacephalon still sees a lot of play, and whether it's the non-GX or the GX, you're getting a fairly comfortable one-hit KO, and that's rather lovely. But then we take a look at something like Reshiram and Charizard, and you're miles away. No, that's not actually fair. You're not miles away, you're 10 damage away. But you might as well be miles away. Even with Vitality Band, you hit 130. And then with Weakness, that goes up to 260 and you're 10 damage short. And sure, you can play that new Galarian Zigzagoon, who's got the same ability as the old Crobat G, which will drop a damage counter on and then get the KO. But now we're into super annoying territory. Now we're looking for the Zigzagoon as well as the Vitality Band. And it's possible, don't get me wrong, there's plenty of people that will pull this off. It's just getting into territory that's more awkward than we'd like. Now the good news is I'm saying add Vitality Band for an extra 10 damage, add Zigzagoon for an extra 10 damage. Let's not forget that you're doing an extra 10 damage constantly here by virtue of the 10 damage to your opponent's bench. And yeah, sure, they can play the Mew from Unbroken Bonds, which will protect their bench, and if they do, they do. But firstly, that forces them to use a space or two in their deck. Secondly, it forces them to use a space on their bench. A lot of people are playing it, but not everyone. But then again, it's great little extra damage. When it works, when your opponent isn't able to stop you, when they are taking the bench damage, this is going to build up pretty quickly. And then you will get a 2-hit KO on most things. Because 120 damage, 2-hit KO, the vast majority of GXs, and then the weakest of the tag teams, we're talking Pikachu and Zekrom, and we're talking Mimikyu and Gengar. Or Gengar and Mimikyu as it actually is. They're the only ones that you're getting here. Everything else is out of range. But then you start building in the bench damage that you're doing, and now it's starting to look a bit better. And because you're a Pokemon V, not a Pokemon GX, maybe you build in Shrine of Punishment, puts 1 damage on each Pokemon EX or GX between turns, but you're a Pokemon V, so you're fine. That doesn't count with you. And then maybe you even try, I don't know, you go for Roxy maybe? And then Roxy's a nice draw card. You discard 2 Pokemon from your hand, and for each one discarded you draw 3 cards. But then maybe you use Coughing or Wheezing, either of which lets you put 1 damage counter on each of your opponent's Pokemon. And now all of a sudden, between the bench damage and the Roxy, and maybe Shrine of Punishment, this is actually building up quite quickly. And then that 120 is essentially 1-hit KOing any non-GX, and 2-hit KOing pretty much everything else. Yeah, your VMAXs like Snorlax, you're still going to be quite a way away. But if you look at something like Mewtwo and Mew, in order to 2-hit KO, you need 3 extra damage counters. Well, between Shrine of Punishment and Roxy and the residual damage to the bench from your attack, you should be alright here. The healing is nice, though we really would appreciate just a little bit of an easier path to picking up our energy here, because bearing in mind we don't have something like Ace Roller anymore, which would actually be great with this. Pick up all the energy, reattach to a Frostmoth to heal the next one and go. It basically means that one Ace Roller could heal 2 Eiscue, because it would heal the first one while picking up all the energy, and then you'd have enough energy to heal the second one, and so on and so forth. So cross your fingers for, we probably won't get Ace Roller back, but cross your fingers for a character from Sword and Shield to have the same supporter attributed to them. My point here is there's an awful lot to like about the ability, and although the attack isn't great, you should be 2-hit KOing, and when you build in the healing as well, yeah, I'm kind of liking it. I'm giving it 4 Wassies, and that's a bit generous. I know I've given a lot of 4 Wassies out lately, but, I mean, put it this way. It's a penguin with an ice cube with a face. Need I say more, ladies and gentlemen? The more I think about it, I've only played through Sword, not Shield. Eiscue is about to battle Snom for my favourite Pokemon from Sword and Shield. Favourite new one, anyway. So there we go. That's my look at Eiscue. I'd like to know what you think about it, though. So let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, be nice, and cross your fingers for an Energy Reset reprint. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio. Well, you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassiePlays, where we talk about a whole bunch of games and none of them have any Pokemon in. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.